Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Hamish Hodder, and today's video is the third episode of terrible, awful, ridiculous investing advice that you find on TikTok. Now, these videos are a lot of fun to make, and there are just so many of these finance, investing, money-related videos popping up on TikTok that I have an endless runway of content to make in these particular types of videos. But in today's video, I thought we would zoom in on a very specific type of investing, finance, money-related video on TikTok, which is how to invest your first $1,000. And this type of video is probably the most common type of finance video that you will see on TikTok because they're really easy to make. But in today's video, hopefully you can get some entertainment out of having a laugh with me about some of their suggestions. But I'm also going to be providing some real investing advice from my experience studying and investing in the markets over the past 4 years so that you can figure out how you should be investing your first $1,000 in the stock market in 2021. Some of these videos may have copyrighted music in them, so I may have to dim the audio and just explain what is happening, but most of these videos have original audio, which tends to be the case with most finance videos, so it will make my life a lot easier when it comes to protecting myself from getting a copyright strike. But with that said, if you do enjoy today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video and hit subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. With that said, let's jump into the first video.
This is how you should invest $1,000 in the stock market. Put 25% into tech. These companies represent the future.
Okay. First of all, it may very well be the case that these big tech companies, the FANG stocks that everyone likes to invest in, it may very well be the case that they are the future and that they will be significantly larger businesses in the future. And it could even be the case that they remain the largest businesses in the United States and the world for a very, very long time. But a really, really great business, even one that is growing their business over time, is not the same thing as a great investment. A great business can be a great investment, and the circumstance in which that's the case is when the business is at an appropriate price. The best example of this, and I covered this in a previous video, is Microsoft in the year 2000. In the year 2000, Microsoft was a fantastic business, but it was not a good investment because its stock price was very, very high. And from the years 2000 to 2014 or 2015, Microsoft grew their revenues and their profits in every single year, but their stock price was flat over that period. So that's a case where a business continues to grow. It's not as if the business shrinks and then grows or goes through some kind of problem. The business has been growing over a 15-year period, but the stock price for the business did not go up because originally in the year 2000, you were paying far too much for those businesses. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case with all of the FANG stocks or that it's to the same extent as Microsoft was in the year 2000, but that is something that you need to consider. You need to consider the price you're paying for the business, because even though Google, for example, may grow at 15% per year for the next 10 years, let's say, its stock price, if it's too high when you buy it, may deliver you a very, very unsatisfactory return.
Put the next 25% into high dividend paying companies. These companies are stable and have good cash flow.
Some of them are stable and have good cash flows, but it's not necessarily the case that if a business pays a dividend that it, again, is a good investment. It's just too simplistic. There are really great businesses that have great products and services and have proven over many decades that people love to come back and buy their products and services. And some of those businesses do pay dividends and they can be good investments. But in the same way that you can't just look at tech businesses and say they are the future, let's buy their stocks, you can't look at a business and say, hey, it pays a 4% dividend and they sell products that I've used for a long time, therefore I'm going to invest in that company.
Put 25% into AI stocks. These companies have high growth potential.
Again, businesses that have high growth potential, okay, but that's not the only consideration that you need to make. There's a lot of businesses that have a lot of growth potential. Most businesses that are really, really small have a lot of growth potential. Most of them, though, they don't live up to their potential, because that's the reality of business. A lot of businesses will try and invest and grow in new industries such as AI. Most of them will fail. Most of them will not be the business that you end up using or knowing about on a large scale. So it is kind of a bit of a fallacy to think, okay, AI businesses, I'll just invest in some of the biggest AI businesses now, because the biggest AI businesses now may very well not be the biggest AI businesses when AI grows to its full potential in 20, 30, 40 years time. time.
The last 25% put into food. These are established companies and people always have to eat.
It is true. People do always have to eat, but believe it or not, humans have the choice of what they want to eat. And what people eat does change over time. So I don't think it's a good investment strategy to just think people have to eat. Therefore, if I invest in this food company, I'm going to make some money. That's clearly way too simplistic. Overall, if I had to rate this video, I would probably rate it maybe a 4 out of 10. Not the worst advice ever. He is encouraging some diversity among different industries, which is generally a good idea, but overly simplistic, which, what do I expect? It's a TikTok video.
Stock market in 2021. Put the first 25% into electric cars.
Hang on a second. Didn't this guy just tell us what to invest in and now it's different? Hang on a second. When was that first video from? Oh, okay. So that first video was from July of 2020. This new video that he's created is from January of this year. So in the space of 6 months, how you should invest your first $1,000 has changed. That should already be a red flag, right? How you invest your first $1,000 does not change in 6 months. Your strategy should not change that much in 6 months. Industries don't change that much. And if you're investing in industries that do change that much, that quickly in a 6-month space, it's going to be very hard for you to come up with a good return over time because there's just going to be too much uncertainty going on in that industry. Again, electric cars. Yes, we all understand that electric cars in one form or another are going to be the future and that fossil fuel driven cars, combustion engine cars are probably going to go away over time. But we don't know which businesses are going to be dominating that market. The market is so small right now. It is tiny. The vast majority of vehicles that are sold still today are combustion engine cars. So to say that you can just invest in Tesla or NIO or some business that is selling a few 100,000 cars compared to the tens of millions of cars that are sold globally on a year-by-year basis is just a terrible strategy. You're probably going to lose. That's the reality. I'm going to have to mute this. Again, it's the same thing, right? It's people looking at industries that are growing at a high rate and then just assuming that the current businesses that are dominating and growing really fast will be the businesses that dominate in that industry in 10 years' time, which is the horizon that you should be looking at when you're investing. If you're looking to invest in something and make money over the next year, there's other problems associated with that. But if you're talking about investing in the future, investing in electric cars, you just don't know which businesses are going to be dominant. I would much rather invest in companies that are in industries that are not changing that much and where the biggest companies have been the biggest companies for a very, very long time, because that gives us confidence that those businesses will continue to thrive in that industry. I'd probably rate that video about a 2 or a 3 out of 10, but very similar to the other videos. You're talking about just focusing on investing in businesses in industries that are really, really large or that are growing, and that's really just not enough to make smart investments.
If I just had $1,000, this is how I'd invested in New Zealand. Personally, a really big advocate for buying stocks, but even if you were to receive an above average return of 10% on your stocks, you'd only make $100 a year on that $1,000 investment. That's less than $10 a month and $2 a week, which isn't really worth it in my opinion, and I think you can make a much...
Yeah, you make $100 in your first year, assuming you reinvest the money that you earned on that. So in other words, when the stock goes up, you don't sell the profits that you made on that stock. And if you get dividends, you reinvest them, then you'll be making 110 in the next year. And then you'll be making 121. And that's how compound interest grows. But I do kind of agree with the idea that investing $1,000 isn't going to make you a huge amount of money in the first couple of years. I'm actually much more of an advocate of trying to cut your expenses and just save as much as possible when you are starting out from scratch. Because as he said, if you invest $1,000 and you get a 10% return, which is pretty typical, you will make $100. Whereas if you can cut some expenses, you can probably just save an additional $500 to $1,000 or even more over the course of a year. So I guess what I'm saying is when you're just starting out with investing and you have a really, really small portfolio, increasing your income and decreasing your expenses and therefore setting more money aside for investing will have more of an impact on your investment portfolio than the returns that you generate. Whereas when you have a portfolio near retirement of $1 million, saving an extra $1,000 isn't going to make a big impact, but making a 10-15% return will make a significant impact. So when you're just getting started, try and save as much money as possible.
Bigger return on your investment. So these are things I'd recommend putting that $1,000 towards that can make you a lot of money in return. And number one is I'd try to get my real estate license. To sell real estate in New Zealand, literally the only qualification you need costs $1,000. And you may not necessarily want to sell real estate, but if you're educated on how the real estate market works and the logistics of it, I'm sure you'll be able to make a much bigger return than $1,000 in the future. The second way is I'd invest in myself learning Photoshop or video editing. You can learn everything you need to with Photoshop and video editing with less than $1,000. And you don't even necessarily need to be an expert, but if you know enough about those two things, you're going to make a much bigger return than $1,000 in the future, I guarantee it. And at number three, I've got buying and selling things on TradeMe. A couple weeks ago, I bought a PlayStation 4 bundle for about $450, and after I sold everything separately, I'd sold everything for about $600. After all the fees and things I needed to pay for, I made about $100 profit. If you guys want me to make a part two, remember to like and follow for more.
Okay, well, I think this is probably the best video that we've seen so far. I'd probably give this a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I think certainly it's good advice to suggest investing in yourself, whether that's doing the traditional route of doing well in high school and then moving on to do a university degree that can kind of set you on a direct path to a career that you have, or whether you want to invest in your education in terms of trying to start a business. I think that's really good advice. I mean, when you're investing in the stock market, you're not going to be making income. Do not think of about joining the stock market or investing in the stock market and thinking that you can draw on that immediately, that it's going to be a good income source for you. Investing is growing your wealth. You need a separate income source to funnel money consistently into your portfolio so that you can consistently buy more of really, really great businesses. The only caveat that I would have to this video is that there is some merit, some value in starting investing with a very small amount of money just to get the feel of what it is to invest. Because when you start out investing, it may feel a little strange to you to watch the stock price and the value of your portfolio fluctuate up and down on a day-by-day basis. And in some periods, it'll be down 10%, 20%, 30%. There might be a snap crash or a really quick crash of almost 40% like we saw in March of last year, and then there'll be periods where it's up. So feeling and understanding how to control your emotions when you're investing is really, really valuable, especially if you can start with a very small amount of money. But with that said, I do understand what he's saying in that there can be other ways that you can invest $1,000 that may do a better job at generating more of an income that you can then funnel into investments.
I'm going to show you the best way to invest £1,000 in the stock market for the future. Wealth is built over the long term, so these are the stocks that you need to watch. I would put the first 25% in electric vehicle stocks. Electric vehicles are here to stay and they are taken over. I would then put 25% into high dividend stocks. These companies pay you a percentage of the profits as well as the value of the stock going up. Money to be made. I would put the next 25% in AI. AI is going to take over soon enough, so I would put money in companies that are going to directly profit from this. And finally, I put 25% in biotech.
Hang on, did this guy just copy the other guy's video word for word? That seemed very, very, very similar to the video we watched earlier. And that video was posted on the 17th of January. So I think we've just caught this guy in it. Well, I mean, it wasn't exactly the same, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, these videos are just, it's a nothing video, right? Anybody could produce this. You don't need to know anything about investing to make these videos, which is why you're seeing a lot of these kinds of videos pop up. And I'm not saying this person doesn't know anything about investing. I haven't watched any of this person's other videos, but these videos are just really, really low barrier to entry videos. Anybody can pick up their phone and do a selfie video and say, hey, you should buy Apple stock. You should buy Amazon stock. Invest 25% in artificial intelligence because it's growing this fast this year. Like, it's just really low hanging fruit. And I mean, that's why there's a lot of this content popping up. Okay, so to finish off this video, I thought I would provide my perspective on how you should invest your first $1,000, because it's one thing to sit here and laugh and critique other people's advice, but it's another thing to actually kind of back it up with some advice that I think is much smarter for people getting started. How I think you should get started, particularly if you want to invest in the stock market. Of course, there's other avenues that you can go down in terms of investing your first $1,000, but I think the stock market is a good place to start. And if you are going to do that, I think the best place is to go broad and invest in what's called an ETF index fund, where you're investing $1,000 into, say, the S&P 500 index, which is 500 of the largest businesses in the United States. And that group of businesses, we have historical data for that for almost 100 years for the US market and a little bit over 100 years for the Australian market if you're investing in the top 300 businesses in Australia. And for both of these markets, they have delivered average returns of somewhere between 8 and 13% per year, not including inflation. So if you include inflation, somewhere between 6 and 9%. And this is generally a good place to start because you don't run the risk of losing money by picking the wrong individual business. And if you consistently add to this over time, historically, that has delivered very, very good returns. Also, if you invest broadly into the US market or the Australian market, it's not very volatile. You won't see 10% plus days, 10% minus days, or well, at least you won't see them very often. I think there was one in March where the Australian market was down 8% in a day, but that was the biggest drop in, I think, maybe forever for the Australian market, or at least in 10 years. So it doesn't happen very often. You're more likely going to see plus 0.1%, minus 0.1%, plus 1% on a good day, minus 1% on a bad day. So you're not going to be significantly emotionally impacted by the stock market movements, and it's a good way to get involved in the markets while you learn more about individual businesses if that's something that you're interested in. If you want to learn more about how to invest in index funds, I actually just released a video going through step by step exactly how you can set up an investment plan to consistently contribute to an index fund and grow your wealth over the long term. I'll leave that video linked down in the description below, and I'll put a card to it here. Not exactly sure which side it'll be on, but it will pop up there somewhere. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and got some entertainment out of it, as well as some value from my perspective on how to invest your first $1,000. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you could leave a like on the video, I would very much appreciate it. Helps me out a ton just to click that little button, make it turn blue. And that really does help me out a ton, more than you could possibly know. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.